So it's kind of been a while. I listed the truck cap on Facebook Marketplace, and it sold within a few hours while I was shooting this video. A lot of things have been changing in my life over the past couple of months and have changed, and I guess some of these big changes have been pushing me back towards van life. So I am now back in Florida, and just before the holidays, I actually picked up a part-time video editing job here for a company locally doing some video production work. I'm really excited about the opportunity. It's been awesome so far, but it's looking like I'm going to be sticking around the Sunshine State for a little while. As some of y'all already know, I've spent the better part of the past 8 years living off-grid and alternatively. From an SUV to a minivan to a beloved JDM Toyota import camper to various different truck campers to a cabin off-grid in the middle of the desert and a tiny house off-grid out there as well. I've tried a lot of different options in terms of alternative living. The problem is, rent is very expensive. Both here in South Florida, but basically everywhere these days. I simply don't want to spend $1,000 or more each month for a place to live. And after years of living minimally, I know that I don't really need a whole lot of space anyways. To add to my point, basically everything that I own is stuffed awkwardly into the corner of this small bedroom that I've been staying at recently. I don't really need a whole lot. A bed to sleep on, a desk to work on, and some snacks. I'm really not too complicated. So why make a move back towards van life? There are a few big reasons why I'm considering making this change and going back in that direction, and a lot of it boils down to the fact that I miss the flexibility that having a small rig that I can take with me everywhere I go provides. For me, the main reason for van life has always been to try to save as much money as I could. Even when I moved into my Honda Element over 8 years ago, the priority was to reduce my expenses as much as possible and then be able to save a little bit of money while also spending my time and saving time so that I could focus on developing skills and the things that I was passionate about. Things like video production and photography, web design, web development, and then the fun things as well, like playing more guitar and surfing. I wanted to have greater control over my time and to be able to save as much money as possible. Now, over the past few years, I have been able to save a little bit of money, but as it stands right now, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense to go and blow that money renting a place to live that I really don't need, or even buying property. This day and age, interest rates are super high, and my stance on buying property, taking out a mortgage, really hasn't changed much since 2017. I don't really ever see myself wanting to take out a mortgage unless maybe it's for like an investment purpose or something like that. But to have that massive payment for somewhere to live when I can just live in a van or an RV, it's totally possible that at some point I'll want to make an investment in some type of property. But with the economy the way that it is now, it doesn't really seem sensible to buy something. This is just not the right time. So what I would rather do is just continue to live as minimally as I can and maximize that savings. Whatever that amount of money is that would be going towards a mortgage or rent, I want to set that aside and continue to build so that if a future opportunity does arise, I'll be ready for it. Another reason to venture back towards van life is just that the minimalism of the entire process really provides me with a great sense of freedom and flexibility. I don't really have a lot of stuff, and I am constantly striving to reduce the amount of things that I own. At times it can be a little challenging. It's definitely a maintenance process, but it really helps me in terms of dealing with some of the unknowns in life. I like being able to have the flexibility to move if something changes rapidly. It helps me to handle those situations where I can have a little bit more certainty. Just know that I don't have a lot of things that are going to bog me down if something major changes unexpectedly in my life. The minimalism side of things also plays into my final reason for reconsidering van life, and that's the ability to travel. Travel was never really a priority for me when I first moved into my Honda Element. It was kind of just lagniappe. It was a little something extra, but I really enjoyed the opportunities that I had to visit so many different places over the past so many years. That being said, it would be pretty nice to have the flexibility to chase a swell up the East Coast for a few days and surf, and then I can come on back down here and get back to doing whatever I was doing before. There's also something to be said about going everywhere and having everything that you own with you at all times. Just being able to go out to the parking lot and grab whatever you need. When your house travels with you everywhere you go, it makes life a little bit easier. So I guess now I arrive at the question, what am I going to do next? I don't currently own a van. Am I considering possibly buying one? And I have very seriously considered buying another van or a box truck, something along those lines, something that I could convert into a home on wheels. But again, like the situation with taking out a mortgage right now, buying a vehicle just doesn't really seem to also make too much financial sense. Good example of this, exactly 5 years ago to the date, I bought my Nissan NV200. It was brand new at the time in early 2019, and I paid like $19,000 for it and was able to finance it at a very competitive interest rate, certainly more competitive than some of the rates you see going around today. If I were to go and try to buy that exact same van right now, 2018 NV200 with 50, 60,000 miles on it, that would be on the low end if I was able to find one like that, I would pay pretty close to the same exact price that I spent 5 years ago, somewhere around $18,000, $19,000, maybe a little bit cheaper, but not a whole lot less than that. And that's ridiculous. Prices have gone up so much. These vans have almost held their value exactly over the past so many years, and that's just a minivan. If I were to try to get something bigger, like a Sprinter or a ProMaster or a Transit, just forget about it. I'm going to be spending huge amounts of money. It just isn't something that I could even afford to do right now, even if I wanted to. But fortunately, I do still have the old pickup truck. She's kind of old, little beat up, but going strong, and that's what I'm going to use as a platform for this future rig. It's not going to be super complicated. This is something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I know a lot of folks now are going to ask, well, why'd you go and sell that truck camper that you just had for it if you were going to need something to live in? And that's a really good question. In the last video, which was, I guess, over 2 months ago at this point, I did sell that Rogue truck camper that I had, and like I said in that video, there were a number of reasons, and those reasons still hold true today. The reality is that that Rogue camper was just way beyond my means. It was too much for me. The thing was absolutely massive. It was awkward to drive around. It actually cut my gas mileage in half every single time that I put it on there. It just wasn't really sustainable. And then on top of that, most importantly, it was very valuable. And I recognized that. I saw that I could actually sell that camper, save most of the money that I sold it for, and then set a small amount aside for this future project. And basically, since the day that I sold that camper, I've been thinking about doing this. In fact, I've been thinking about doing this for years. I know I've talked about it in previous videos years and years ago. This is something that I'm very, very excited about. I have SketchUp files coming out of my ears, all sorts of different concepts that I've been drawing up, and I finally decided exactly on what I'm going to do. Cost will be a major consideration. I'll definitely be on a little bit of a budget with this setup. It's really the most important things are that I want to have a small bed, comfortable bed to sleep on, and then a desk setup that I can work. And then I want to essentially try to climate control this so that I can handle hot days like today here in Florida while I'm in the area. So that's going to include a pretty extensive solar setup and a few other things as well. I guess this isn't technically a return to van life. It's more specifically truck life, but it's all the same thing. You get the point. I cannot wait to share this process with you guys over the upcoming months and the upcoming videos. Like I said, I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, and the time has finally come. I just really want to have an affordable, comfortable space that I can call my own and I can use wherever the road ends up taking me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful for some of y'all if you are considering choosing van life or choosing just to live minimally, if that is to live in a tiny house or a smaller space, downsizing. For me, this has really helped me over the past so many years in my life, and I wouldn't be where I am today without some of these aspects of minimalism and the things that I've learned from van life along the way. Again, thank you all so much for your support and for following along on this journey. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Check out the new Element Life membership site linked below. Becoming a member is a great way to support the channel and grants you access to many benefits, including an interactive map of my favorite free camping and stealth camping spots from across the country with video recaps for each site, bonus videos, special discounts, and much more. Thanks again for watching.